Live in Nashville, Tennessee. You are listening to the Nashville Daily Podcast. Nashville's #1 daily podcast. Brought to you by Think Nashville. Think Nashville. Think Brad. Think Brad. It's Nashville Daily Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Nashville Daily Podcast. I'm Stuart Deming, and joining me in studio, we've introduced him before, but I'm actually going to introduce his real name. We have a character here on the podcast, and we call him Greg the Google Guy. But the real name of the man, the myth, the legend behind Greg the Google Guy is Aaron Moses, and he wants to be called Moses now instead of Greg the Google Guy.
Moses the Moses Guy.
Moses the Moses Guy?
Yeah. Moses the Moses Guy. But yeah, Aaron Moses here. Thank you, Stuart, for having me on.
Of course.
Thanks for always having Brad on, too.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. I work
Absolutely.
directly with Brad Reynolds, the show's sponsor.
Yeah.
Awesome real estate agent. Check out the website, thinkbrad.com.
Yeah, and then what's the phone number?
615-856.
3270. I always forget those last four. Always
they're
get
on the
me every
screen.
time. I know.
If you're watching, right? If you're listening on Spotify or wherever.
Apple, Google.
Everywhere that holds a podcast.
Wherever it is.
Go ahead and switch on over to
YouTube
and check out Nashville Daily Podcast channel and see Brad's Bibis Nue. I don't know how to pronounce that font.
I don't know.
Thinkbrad.com. Check it out.
Yeah. You can also visit NashvilleDailyPodcast.com to learn more. Aaron, we had you on one of our videos recently, and this was for our channel, Xplr.Nash. And it was this Battle of This Mind trivia challenge video, and you were the host of this video.
I was not. Greg the Google guy
was, but it was.
He's retired.
It was ultimately you. Yeah, he's retired. Sure. He's going to come back on the show occasionally to talk about real estate development and everything here in Nashville. But you were the host of this double-decker challenge, trivia challenge.
What a blast, dude.
Just walk through that experience of hosting that video on our behalf.
Well, I thought it was just amazing that we got Gray Lion to supply that double-decker bus.
Oh, yeah, that's so much fun.
That took it to another level.
Oh, hands down.
Trivia is awesome in general.
But trivia on a bus?
Double-decker?
A double-decker bus?
A double-decker bus, yeah. It was a blast, man. We got started early, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
7.
7 o'clock was the call time.
And I think we got it all shot, well, most of it, all the main stuff by
6-7 hours?
Yeah. 1 or 2 p.m., and then we went back and got some B-roll. It was really fun. After the rest of the crew left and Brad took off, we just traveled downtown.
Yeah, we just drove around Nashville on this bus, and all these people were just like, why in the world is there only 3 people on this double-decker bus?
Yeah.
We should have had a camera just capturing that moment.
We were the woo-woo boys.
Yeah,
you guys know about the woo-woo girls on the buses around town.
We're the new band, the Woo Woo Boys.
The Woo Woo Boys.
All we do when we sing is go, woo woo, woo woo, woo woo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all we do.
Woo.
But it was such a fun video to make.
It was.
And then eating the hot chicken. I was not expecting you to do it, and then you did it in the video, and you're just like, it overwhelmed you for a second.
Yeah, I think what happened was I took a bite, and remember it was kind of hanging?
Oh, yeah.
Like the piece was hanging.
You started choking on it?
Well,
yeah.
I breathed in, and the dust from the poultry guys.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to Party Foul, man. They know how to make some spicy hot chicken.
It was real. Spicy.
But it got me. It got me bad. It was like back of the throat.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of felt like I had to sneeze a little bit, but it stayed hot. It stayed spicy
hot.
up in that mouth for about
3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Hatcher Family Dairy Milk really saved the day, man.
And then even later, it got even spicier.
The next morning, I call it morning spice.
I call it the hot chicken runs. So taking that Chicken Run movie, and playing on that. Okay, Moses, tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey here in the city of Nashville. You've been here for a while.
Yeah, man. It's pretty wild, actually. I'm from Indiana originally. I went to Purdue University for a year. Didn't do well. Didn't like it really, or whatever. Found myself moving here for music. I'm a musician. And I moved here in 2007, I believe.
Way before anything.
I was 18 or 19.
Way before any of the really big changes happened.
Yeah. I mean, even before the 2008 recession.
Oh, yeah.
But I lived off of off of Harding Place and Nolensville Pike, Wallace Road.
Yeah.
There's like a Hooters there and the best authentic Mexican restaurant.
It's that one in the
Taqueria San Luis.
Station, the gas station, and they like have
Right
like
next
the
door.
smoke pits. Okay,
Yep. And I lived there for about a year, and I worked at a car dealership, and then I took a job at Stanley Steamer. I was born with a really rare bone disease called fibrous dysplasia. I've broken my femur, like, no joke, like 30 times.
Wow.
I have a prosthetic femur now, titanium in there, but at that time, I was going through some, physical. It was a tough time physically.
Especially steaming carpets and
Yeah,
stuff.
and what ended up happening was like, I just kind of overdid it, and I broke my femur while living down here, and moved back up to Indiana. Lived with my parents. I was laid up for a whole summer in I think it was '08, and I wrote a bunch of songs laid up. Sent them to a studio down here, production house called Zod Lounge, and they called and were like, let's make some tunes, And so I healed up. I traveled down over the course of a year, and made a full length album. And then I moved in a couple years later. I had met my now wife. We've been married for 12 years.
That's awesome, man.
Yep. Her name's Emily. I had met her, but I moved. She was a senior in college. I moved in 2010 into Zod Lounge as their resident artist. And we started playing gigs, making records, producing other artists, co-writing with other artists there. And the rest is history. I married Emily in 2011. We've been here ever since. And there's a lot more to the story, but that's the start of my journey in Nashville.
We're going to save that for future episodes because you're going to be coming on here on the podcast and co-hosting with us. And so we'll be saving that story for future episodes. Now let's dive into Nashville and what attracts you about Nashville as like a city.
Well, interestingly, back in 07 or 08, it was that it's still true today in a lot of ways, but it was that you get the big city feel.
With the traffic.
With the traffic and the buildings even.
And the crime.
And the crime.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the rare ones in this country where if it's big, it's not too big. It's community driven, but you can still have some anonymity. I grew up in a town of 30,000 where it's not super small. And my wife grew up in a town of about 1,000. That's everybody knows everything at all times. But I like the anonymity of it. Not just that, but the culture here. Food. The food is awesome, right?
Oh,
shout out to Party Foul.
Yeah, Party Foul. we can name. Yeah, we could spend the next
Cletus.
3 hours. Cletus, we could spend the next
my
3
guy.
hours.
You make one heck of a burger.
Talking about Nashville food, and we can have an whole episode just naming restaurants. Not even talking about our experiences.
We'll just keep naming them like a robot.
Yeah, I think that would actually be really interesting.
That would be.
And it'd be like Subway Restaurant 10555. I've heard it said with fast food restaurants, with Nashville independent restaurants, and with like gas stations that serve made-to-order sandwiches or pre-made sandwiches, there's close to 7,000 entities in the city of Nashville that offer that type of service.
Wow,
which is insane.
Yeah, that's
crazy. Think about. And then it seems like Nashville restaurants are opening. There's like a new restaurant opening at least once or twice a week in this city.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of restaurants closing.
I think that's a big point, too. The restaurant industry, you just had Shane from Cletus on the show. I mean, the restaurant industry anywhere can be tough.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
But in Nashville, I feel like there's a lot of competition. It's kind of like the music industry, right? There's a lot of competition, but there's also a lot of opportunity here. Tons of people are still moving here, man.
Yeah, and
tons of people from all over the world, even.
It's interesting because, like, even if you go to places that are relatively new, they seem busy on the weekends.
Yeah.
But even places that have longevity here in the city of Nashville, like I would say anything that has longevity is 10 years, 8 to 10 years old here in the city.
Yeah.
Which is probably the average age of a restaurant shutting down. most of the time within the first 5 years. I'm not really sure the statistic on that.
I would think that, yeah.
But even those restaurants, they have to have multiple locations to be able to accommodate for the people that are just loyal to that restaurant.
Yeah.
So that's really fascinating. You've been in the creative industry for so long.
Yep.
What's one thing that stands out to you about the Nashville market and creativity here?
People think of Nashville as country music, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What stands out to me is how many people I've met working in the lowest of the low on the music and creative side and kind of the upper echelon of the business side. What I find interesting is it's a long-reaching creative enterprise here, like from genre specific, you know, like there's a lot of rock bands, there's a lot of singer-songwriters, folky, indie, right? Pop and R&B has really made its name here. And that's actually, like, when I first moved here, I thought Nashville, 18, 19 years old, Nashville, country. But it is way more than that. Now, it's still country music. But I found that really interesting, the reach of multiple genres and multiple mediums of art.
Yeah, I've said it in a few conversations recently. Nashville is a place where dreams are made. And New York City, and I don't know who I was talking to, but I said New York City is a place where dreams go to die.
Yeah.
And it seems like that transition has really happened over the last 5 years. And I've talked to a lot of people in New York City, and they're just like, yeah, it's just the grind, man. You have to get up and do all these things. Like, I lose my creativity here, and then they come to Nashville, and they're like, wow, there's so much creative juices flowing in the air and whatever's in the Cumberland River that's causing that in the water. But it's just it's fascinating to talk about that. When in your time living here, what's been the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself?
As a creative or just in general?
As a creative.
I think it has to do with, perseverance more than anything. It's a tough business. It's one of the toughest, if not the toughest business to make a career out of. Artistry in general, the creative arts. But what I've learned is that if you just keep staying authentic to yourself and true to yourself, you'll build a community of like-minded people around you that you kind of become a magnet, right? I think that's kind of how we met.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Aaron included back there in the room.
Yeah.
But I think it's perseverance. That's what dude, the lowest of the low, like making no money, not able to even, write because I've lost my creative, kind of moxie or whatever, to working for some huge bands and running a studio and writing with some, pretty well-known writers and artists. I mean, it takes perseverance more than anything. I think the turnover is somebody moves here. Another city like that, by the way, is Austin.
Yeah.
But I think when somebody moves here, the average is like, I'm going to go and I'm going to chase my dreams, especially in the music side of the creative arts. I'm going to chase my dreams, and they're normally moving away within the first 2 or 3 years. They're going back home, or they're trying something new, or they change the trajectory of their career or whatever. But I really think there's a great artist here in town. She's been here for a long time. Her name's Haley Witters. She's a major label artist. She wrote a song called 10-Year Town.
Well, I was literally just about to bring that up.
Yep.
All of the A-listers in town, most of them, have said that Nashville is a 10-year town.
Yep.
And even from an operation standpoint in business, a lot of people say this is a 10-year town.
Yeah.
So what do you think that means for an artist coming into this market?
Yeah.
That it's a 10-year town.
I mean, either A, you find exactly who you are by that 10-year mark, and you find peace in what it is you're doing with your life, or B, you break through with what you came here to town to do, which for a lot of people is music, that kind of thing by that point. So it's twofold. It can be that you find peace where you're at, no matter where you're at, or you do actually succeed in that dream you came to town with.
Yeah, so I'm just a few months away from exactly hitting 10 years.
Yeah.
About 6.5 months away from hitting 10 years. And you've been here for over 10 years. Do you feel when you hit that 10-year mark that you did experience that peace that you talked about?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it like this. Check out that song, by the way, Haley Witter's 10-Year Town. It's really great. She did a great video with a bunch of A-listers saying how long they had been in Nashville before they got their break.
Okay.
It's really cool. Some people 25 years, you know, some of them 4 years, but the average is 10 years, you know, that kind of thing. In 2017, so I moved here, and I think it was 07 or it was roughly 07. In 2017, I got my dream gig. So if it was 07 to 17, that's about 10 years. Then the pandemic hit. Nothing you can do about that, right? But it opened up so many other opportunities outside of music. And I would say I'm even more in my zone now than I was in 2017, 18, 19, 20, you know? So for me, I'm kind of an example of that paying off, you know, both from that the peaceful, finding peace in what I'm doing. And also reaching my goals and touching kind of the end result of a dream.
Yeah. And so with me, with being a few months away from my 10-year anniversary of moving here, a lot of people in my life have said that we are on the verge of very massive and large things. And that's coming from people that I hold very near and dear to my heart. And it's been interesting, the process and the growth and the learning that I've had to do over this last 10 years. I've had to deal with a lot of emotional wounds. I've had to deal with a lot of frustrating moments. I've had to deal with a lot of fear and misunderstanding. But I'm really glad that year 10 is coming in very soon. And part of the reason for that is 10 years of me living independent from my family. Like I'm pretty far away. I'm 15 hours away from my family. And so like that's a very big feat within itself. And it's just that there's so much that's happened in this last 10 years. And I think on the anniversary of my 10-year anniversary, I think we'll just break it down. Like what happened in this 10 years. Because there's been so much that's happened. And I've seen this city grow in tremendous ways. And it's a really fascinating place to be in life because I'm about to transition to the point where I've been in Nashville longer than anywhere else in the world. So it's really interesting to learn all of the things that I've learned in the last 10 years. What's one of your favorite restaurants in Nashville right now?
One of my favorite restaurants?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Other than Cletus?
Other than Cletus. Cletus is pretty good.
Man, I've just been on this Shotgun Willie's kick.
I've only had them once.
Yeah, their brisket. It's awesome. I mean, it's over.
Yeah, it's in East Nashville off of Gallatin.
Yeah.
And then
right up toward Briley.
Yeah, have you been to BB's Barbecue in Franklin off of Highway 96?
I have not.
I need to introduce you, man. It's this little
Let's
shack on Highway 96 in Franklin. And they have some of the best brisket in all of Middle Tennessee. And then I need to introduce you to Highway 55 Barbecue or Highway 50 Barbecue down in Columbia. It's going to be the best pulled pork sandwich you've ever had in your entire life.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And
right
then,
now? Let's go. You ready?
Yeah, we can go. Yeah, if you want to go. I'm still full from lunch, but I probably shouldn't eat double.
Yeah.
No. So quick thing, and then we'll talk about what it looks like for you coming on here in the future. What's one of your favorite coffee shops in Nashville as of this moment?
I actually was there earlier working today. Humphrey Street.
Yeah.
WeHo. Right? Area. They've been around for a long time, but I love their mission. They give back to the community. They hire from within the community. They have some of the best. I mean, I don't know how their process for roasting it, goes or whatever, how they do it, but it's some of the best beans in town.
Oh, hands down. It's a great coffee shop. I love their hot chocolate's really good. And then maca with the green tea extract. Matcha,
stuff.
yeah. That thing is fantastic.
I haven't had that.
Humphreys. All right, speaking of coffee, today's episode is in part brought to you by Blessed Day Coffee. Use the code Xplr.Nash at blesseddaycoffee.com to take 20% off your order today. They also offer free delivery in the Nashville area. Moses, let's talk about how you're going to be co-hosting with us here in the future. So you're going to come in on some episodes and co-host with Aaron and I, and it's going to be a lot of fun. AKA you're formerly known as Greg the Cool Guy, but your new name is Moses the Moses.
That's me.
Yeah.
Moses the Moses guy. Let's get it.
Moses the Moses. If you want to learn more about the city of Nashville, head to NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. Also, subscribe to Think Brad on YouTube. And you can subscribe. Oh, my gosh, I'm struggling on that one. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nashville Daily Podcast, on YouTube. And you can also follow our other YouTube channels, Xplr.Nash and Explore Tennessee. We have a lot of content coming your way on all of the channels, and I look forward to seeing you again, Moses the Moses.
Thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome.
Peace.
See you soon. Thank you for listening to the Nashville Daily Podcast. If you want to learn more, head to NashvilleDailyPodcast.com.
You can also follow us on social media at Xplr.Nash on Instagram, Nashville Daily Podcast on YouTube, and Xplr.Nash on YouTube as well.
The Nashville Daily Podcast is an Xplr LLC production, copyright 2023.